Hello, and good afternoon. I'm Terri Roux, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here with you on this very special occasion for the Credit Valley Trail. I want to thank the people here in person and everyone viewing online for joining us for this milestone moment. As the Executive Director of the Credit Valley Conservation Foundation and Senior Manager of Parks for Credit Valley Conservation, this project holds a very special place in my heart, as I know it does for many of you. With 32 kilometers of trail currently connected, the work to connect the remaining 68 kilometers is well underway. In early 2020, thanks to the generous support of our donors, we acquired a beautiful 44-acre property in Caledon, affectionately known as the Capstone property. It will ultimately connect 8.5 kilometers of optimum trail route between the Alton Grange, Upper Credit Conservation Area, where we are now, and Forks of the Credit Provincial Park. A big win that we're so incredibly thankful for. Work to connect the trail is carried out in the collaborative spirit that is the very essence of the Credit Valley Trail, with the support and dedication of so many project partners. And as partners, we gather today on the banks of the Credit River to launch our biggest fundraising campaign to date to help us realize our ultimate vision of a 100-kilometer pathway through the Credit River Valley, from the hills of the headwaters in Orangeville, through Caledon, Halton Hills, Brampton, and Mississauga to Lake Ontario and Port Credit. We're also here to celebrate a major milestone, the first stake in the ground, so to speak. The wayfinding signs we're unveiling today mark the first time the name Credit Valley Trail will grace the land. These signs of progress showcase our vibrant trail logo and brand and will guide us both literally and figuratively as we take these important steps along the path on the current trail and toward its completion. Trail users anxious and excited to explore the existing 32 kilometers of trail can now find it listed on the interactive On-to-Go Trail app. Today is a really big deal. Our vision is quickly becoming a reality, and I'm so very proud to share this milestone with all of you. So many of you have walked this path with us as we came together, organized, planned, and dreamed of a more connected future that puts the Credit River, our river, at the very heart of our communities. This visionary project is only possible because of the collective strength of all the partners and funders who've joined with us, and I'm excited to hear from many of them today. First among them is Carolyn King, former chief of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and member of the Credit Valley Trail Leadership Council and the Credit Valley Trail Indigenous Roundtable.
I've had the opportunity, an honor to be part of the group, to bring the Indigenous voice to the table and work with a team of First Nations, Métis, to give input on what that might look like. So we've done that through the Indigenous Roundtable, and thank you to Natalie Fott, who's been, keeping us going and keeping us together, and even in the midst of all of this COVID separation. And that we have been on a campaign for a long time, many, many years, to be recognized and to be respected for who we are in this land. The Mississaugas, like I said, we've signed away we have 23 treaties in the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and that has, allowed the settlement of this area. And plus the other treaties, settlement of Canada. So we're coming back, and one of the things that I see has happened, and even I'll say, people say, I never heard about this. How come I never heard about the First Nations? How come I didn't hear about your treaty lands in the education system? And the country has really done the people an injustice by not letting people know about who lived on the land before they got here, and that we still exist. And that, so today we've been working now for several years. I've been working on this almost 10 years. It's called the Moccasin Identifier, in which case it is an education and awareness program for the school system. That's our first target, and after that, it's the general population. We'll be can do this. And that you never get Carolyn King without getting the Moccasin Identifier. We have a box, another box that it has 4 stencils in, and that it's called the teacher education kit, and that in there's 4 stencils that represent Ontario. It does the Cree in the north, and if you didn't know, the Cree are the largest group in Canada, from eastern Canada right out to Alberta. the Cree. And then we have the Anishinaabe, which is us. The Mississaugas are part of the Anishinaabe group, and that we're from Northern Ontario, now into South. And, of course, the Credit River gets its name from us, Mississaugas of the Credit. And that then the Huron-Wendat, who I say are in the ground but live in Quebec. And the symbol we use here, the stencil, is the moccasin design, is the Seneca. They were the group that came in from the United States to settle the area. So that's why we use them in the education kit. But there's lots of other designs. So the kit is, like I said, it has 4 stencils in it, and that information bulletin, business card, and we launched yesterday. We launched the website with curriculum that the teachers can go online and pull for free and teach this. If they're looking to teach something in the school about treaties and the Indigenous people, we're helping deliver with this program. And that we hope that it's, I say it takes a lot of people to change the world. Credit Valley is part of that group of people who are helping change the world, our world, and that we get to be included. And I said, the project feels like it's been inclusive. That we're not just, we're just off over there. We want people to be, want us to be part of the group as best we can. And that, so we did the launch, and we're just trying to push off the media. We got a couple calls already. Oh, geez, that's good. And that today was the press release, went out inviting people to be part of what we're doing. And then as we move through the week, and one of the things that we did is we looked for what we call the campaign event, and we've hooked ourselves onto the Ontario Treaties Recognition Week, which is the first full week in November, and that it is for our launch, because we're all about treaties as well. We've just hooked our event onto that, and that we've asked people. We had about 25 people who we've asked to video. They got a kit, and ask them to videotape themselves or take a picture of them stenciling. And that Ed McDowell is here. He stenciled. I got him on the hook there. The Lieutenant Governor stenciling, Ron McLean, just people who we knew said, will you do this with us? And, they come forward and they said yes. So, as they post, as it goes out, there's going to be more people aware of what we're trying to do, and hopefully that will help get the message out. And so great to be a part of this, and that afterwards, we don't have to do the stenciling now, but we'll do that just to make sure we're on target with everything that we're doing here. So, Chimigwech.
And thank you so much, Carolyn. We're so excited and can't wait until the moccasin identifier is just up and down the 100 kilometers of trail and is a symbol of the Credit Valley Trail for sure. So thank you. I'd now like to introduce Karen Roux. Karen is the chair of Credit Valley Conservation and the chair of the CBC Foundation, City of Mississauga Ward 2 councillor, and a member of the Credit Valley Trail Leadership Council.
Thank you, Terri, and thank you, Carolyn. Congratulations on the Moccasin Project for the larger launch. It's very exciting, and I too look forward to seeing them all throughout the trail. I just want to thank you all. Many of our supportive partners are here. I wish more could have been here, but COVID has really put a damper on things this year. We have many generous funders, and their commitment to this project, whether it's this year or previous years, have brought us to this point today. Although I wear many hats, as Terri mentioned, today I'd like to talk to you as chair of the Credit Valley Conservation Foundation. First, I want to recognize the Credit Valley Trail's founding donors, the Government of Ontario, through the Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries, 407 ETR, the Greenbelt Foundation, and the many donors who made contributions of all sizes to the project through the Credit Valley Trail Conservation Foundation. You are visionaries, leaders, and environmental champions, and we're beyond grateful for your support of our shared vision. Thank you for taking these initial steps on the path with us. The Credit Valley Trail is a once-in-a-lifetime project. When complete, this 100-kilometer pathway through the Credit River Valley will span the length of the river from the hills of the headwaters in Orangeville to Lake Ontario in Port Credit, near where I live. Every time I visit our beautiful river, and this summer I've did an awful lot of kayaking because there was nothing else to do, I feel overcome with a sense of wonder, and it truly is a wonder. Simply being here, watching the water flow, hearing the rustling of leaves in the trees, and maybe catching a glimpse of the abundant wildlife, especially the herons that are my personal favorites, they call the river home. It transforms my state of mind and offers a rare moment of quietude. Our river, which flows through bustling urban centers and lush rural landscapes, is known for its scenic vistas, abundant fisheries, and beautiful natural spaces. But for many of us, the Credit River is so much more. It's a point of pride. It's worthy of being protected. And we believe it's worthy of being appreciated through the Credit Valley Trail. The trail will connect communities to the beauty of nature, Indigenous heritage, and values rich cultural experiences and sustaining waters of the Credit River. Each new kilometer is a step towards a more connected future, where the Credit River and our natural environment take a central role in our well-being. And I'm proud to say that we've connected 32 kilometers of trail so far, and we have 68 kilometers to go. That's why Credit Valley Conservation Foundation is launching its largest fundraising campaign to date. We hope to inspire generous individuals and organizations alike to help us raise a total of $10 million to connect the rest of the Credit Valley Trail. Our vision is bold and our sights are set high, but we can't do this alone. So I ask you to join us to put nature at the very heart of our communities. Generous donations of all sizes will help fund important aspects of the trail, including securing new land, which we were very proud of an accomplishment last year, for the trail route and to create more public access points, building the trail surface to accommodate a variety of users and make it accessible where we can, and creating stops along the way where people can explore that rich natural heritage. Together, we can take these important steps along the path and realize our vision of a protected river, connected communities, and sustainable future. Thank you.
I'd now like to call Johanna Downey up to speak. Johanna is also a member of both CVC and the CVC Foundation Board of Directors. She is Regional Councillor, Ward 2, Town of Caledon, and a member of the Credit Valley Trail Leadership Council.
Thank you, Terri. And thank you to all of the partners and funders who are making our shared vision a reality. And just before I start, I'd like to say congratulations to you as well, Carolyn, for launching the Moccasin Project. I think it's amazing, and you have my personal commitment to keep pushing it through the school boards and through the curriculum. I think it's tremendously important. With so many of our region's wild natural spaces located in Caledon, I see firsthand the tremendous growth and demand for outdoor recreation and access to green space. Over the past 10 years alone, Credit Valley Conservation has seen a 260% increase in visitation to its parks. This is amazing, but then sometimes the ripple effect isn't always amazing. So we really have to work together, especially through COVID. We've seen this trend increasing. This year has really brought into focus just how important it is for us to maintain and invest in our outdoor recreation, for local tourism, for community building, and for individual health and wellness. With the temporary closures for so many indoor venues, people have started to venture to the outdoors, many visiting local conservation areas and trails for the very first time. That first experience, especially for our youngest residents, can be transformative, even life-changing. Do you remember the first time you saw the spectacular fall colors along the Credit River in Caledon? Or catching a glimpse of a deer on the riverbank at Eldorado Park in Brampton? Or maybe watching in awe as hundreds of salmon migrate up the river in Mississauga? While we hope and pray for an end to the pandemic and eventually return to normal, we know that the new connections that local residents have made with nature in the Credit River will last a lifetime and maybe span even generations. As our communities continue to grow and thrive, investing in outdoor recreation is more important now than ever. That is why the Credit Valley Trail is such an important project. Not only is it establishment in the new trail experience for users today, it's putting us on a clear path toward a more connected future. So, in that sense, we're not just building a trail. We're building a legacy that will knit together the communities of Mississauga, Brampton, Halton Hills, Caledon, and Orangeville. It will connect the bioregions of Lake Ontario waterfront to the Niagara Escarpment and the Greenbelt, and it will empower Indigenous peoples to share their stories, values, and knowledge, recognizing their enduring presence in the land. The trail will support hiking, cycling, and sustainable tourism with the natural and cultural heritage features as destinations along the trail, and an economic growth opportunity for the Credit River communities. And that is why I'm so excited about today's milestone. It's another important step along the path toward what is that a more connected future. And like Karen, I want to call on all of our local residents, businesses, and organizations to invest in the future of our community and our trail. Your generous donations will indeed make a difference. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce Deborah Martin-Downs, Credit Valley Conservation CAO. She's also the Secretary Treasurer of the CVC Foundation and a member of the Credit Valley Trail Leadership Council.
Yeah, come on, let's have it, come on. Thanks, Terri, and like the speakers before me, I want to extend my sincere thanks to the generous funders and supporters who got us started on this trail path to make this happen. But I also want to recognize our municipal partners through which the trail will wind, because they have worked really, really hard with us to define the preferred route and to ground truth it and to start building the support within their own organizations for this. And that's what we're going to need to see the rest of it completed. Many of you won't actually know this, but the grand vision for the Credit Valley Trail was actually first explored in the 1956 Credit Valley Conservation Report, which was completed 2 years after Credit Valley was formed in 1954. It was actually envisioned as a driving route through the valley, and intended to combine recreational and educational experiences for weekend and holiday motorists visiting the area, and to showcase, of course, the scenic beauty of the Credit Valley. But it wasn't until about 2015 when a new approach to this old idea emerged. Sometimes timing is everything, and I think the Credit Valley Trail was appropriately timed at this point. The seed was officially planted. We all met at the Alton Mill in February of 2015 and outlined a call for action for the trail. We had more than 50 organizations attend, and the vision for the trail was introduced and affirmed. And I think you were there, Carolyn, as well. And we certainly have taken it a long way since then. Today we've heard from others, and I won't repeat, but how the trail is so many different things to so many people. And I said these words back in Alton, is that it's a green gym, it's a connection to nature, it's a tourist destination, it's a history lesson, it's an active transportation corridor, and it's a protected natural legacy for our children and for the future of our community. Never have our parks and trails had more interest and enjoyment than in the middle of this pandemic, as Johanna noted. So as the CAO of Credit Valley Conservation, the aspect I'm most hopeful about is the trail's role as being a constituency builder for the Credit River. I believe that building a greater sense of place in our region is one of the most important things that we can do. When people feel connected to the land they call home, and that's truly connected, not just I own this little piece of property, but outside their property boundaries, then they intrinsically value the land and its ongoing protection. If they want to use it, they protect it and they value it. They want to learn about its history, they want to understand its culture, and they want to help guide its future. So knowing the land and its history will encourage residents to engage in respectful and meaningful relationships with Indigenous people in the spirit of reconciliation. And I am just so grateful to the work that Carolyn, you and the Indigenous Roundtable have done to build meaningful experiences into the trail and to the nodes that will be along it. And from the work that we do every day, we know that connecting people with nature fosters a deep appreciation for the environment and builds that sense of pride and stewardship across the generations. So that's why, like others before me, I'm going to call on our watershed residents and businesses and organizations to invest in the Credit Valley Trail for the future of our communities and for the environment. So your generosity will make a difference today and for generations to come. So I thank you all for coming out today, and I'll turn it back to Terri.
I would now like to welcome Edward McDonnell, Chief Executive Officer for the Greenbal Foundation and one of the Credit Valley Trail's founding donors.
Thank you very much, Terri. It's really great to be here. Many familiar faces, and great to see where the process after many years has gotten, where it's a little hint of where it's going. So it's really a privilege to be here, and I bring both greetings and congratulations from the Greenbal Foundation. We've been following closely the sort of progress of the trail over time, and so to get to this milestone is really heartening. At the Greenbelt Foundation, with the support of the province of Ontario, we seek to invest in efforts to protect and enhance the Greenbelt, including its urban river valleys, its many natural landscapes, and rich agricultural lands. An important part of our work is supporting efforts to provide public access to trail systems and other recreational opportunities across the more than 2 million acres of the Greenbelt. So we've been very pleased to partner with Credit Valley Conservation on the Credit Valley Trail since 2017. We supported the development of the initial trail strategy in 2017, as well as the Indigenous Experience plan between 2018 and 2020. So now we're in 2020 and we've seen the impacts of COVID, and as others have mentioned, it's really shone a light on the importance of outdoor recreation and our connection to nature. And it's especially true in areas that surround Canada's largest population centers. So clearly, this would be one of those areas. And as we look ahead and we think about the ongoing development, urbanization, our region is estimated to reach 13.5 million residents by 2041. So the demand for public access to high quality green space is really only going to grow. At the same time, despite this significant urbanization that exists in much of southern Ontario, in the Greenbelt or around the Greenbelt, and in areas like Credit Valley, they continue to actually represent some of the most biologically diverse land in Canada. So done right, we can have protected natural areas, we can improve our resiliency in the face of climate change, and we can provide access to green spaces and critical recreational opportunities. So in that context, I think all of us would agree that the vision of a connected 100-kilometer Credit Valley Trail has never been more important. And fully realizing the Credit Valley Trail will mean that Ontario residents and visitors can readily access near urban nature that is close to home in many cases. But that really won't happen without people like you. And I really want to underscore that point. It's just been a delight to see the creativity, the effort, the thoughtfulness that's gone into the Credit Valley Trail to date, and I know will continue. But again, this is what we need. This is what we need. As Johanna said a moment ago, we're building a legacy, and we'll knit together many diverse communities. And it's this sort of community building through investments in natural areas that really exemplifies a big part of what I hope, and I think many of us hope, the future of planning in our region should be about. Really that twinning of urban development, but also how do we preserve, protect, and appropriately provide access to natural areas. So I really want to thank you for including me today. Really big congratulations to all involved, and we're really at the Greenbelt Foundation excited to see what comes next. So good on you.
I'd like to introduce Conan O'Brien now. Conan is the Program Manager of Marketing Communications and Government Relations with 407 ETR. And like the Greenbelt, 407 ETR is also one of the founding donors for the Credit Valley Trail.
I'll be really quick. Thank you very much for thinking of 407 ETR and inviting us out today. Terri seems a little bit colder every time she comes to the microphone, so I just want to say thank you very much to the entire Credit Valley Foundation team. You guys are such an important piece of our environmental stewardship program at 407, not just with the Credit Valley Trail project, but organizing volunteer events for our staff when they go out and do volunteer initiatives. We don't really have any idea what we're doing, so we rely on your expertise, and you guys really make such great projects happen. The trail looks phenomenal. The signage looks great on the way in. And like Edward mentioned, we really look forward to seeing what comes next. The last thing was the logo launch, and it's really coming together with the signage and everything. So thank you very much. Congratulations, Caroline, on your initiative as well. And Karen, you and I both love the herons. I noticed that as well. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, Conan. So that brings us to the official end of the speeches. And now for the really, really fun stuff, which is the photo ops.
1, 2,
That's my son.